For the past 46 years, select individuals have managed to distinguish themselves from the rest, to emerge as the PBA's best. These are the men who have inscribed their names in the annals of greatness by attaching to their names the three most coveted letters in any field. M, V, P. My name is Lourdes de Vera, and tonight we take a look at the PBA most valuable players and how they have changed the way we play the game.
There's a dead ball situation now. They can call for a 30-second injury timeout.
Since 1975, the PBA's Most Valuable Player Award has been given to the best performing athlete of every season. It was later renamed in honor of the late Leo Prieto, the first commissioner who served for 8 years from the league's inaugural season until 1983. And after 45 seasons, only 26 men have been hailed MVP.
Here is Jaworski, even to a one-hander, the barreling J.
Most of the one-time MVP winners were guards. First among them is none other than the living legend himself, Robert Jaworski. His impact was felt all over the floor of the 1978 season, nearly averaging a triple-double in almost 40 minutes per game. Jaworski led Toyota to back-to-back titles that year. Eventually, his career record beams with a total of 13 championship trophies, 9 with Toyota and 4 with the Ginebra franchise. He's also the all-time leader in assists with his 5,825 dimes, still unmatched to this day.
If you actually look at Jaworski and how he controlled the game, how he played it, how he jump-started the fast break by getting the rebound and then led the transition and then fed off to a teammate. He was always there, whether on defense and in offense. No, I don't know if there's any other player. Maybe Ramon Fernandez would come closest to be as dominant as Jaworski when he was in 1978.
A year after Jaworski became MVP, it was Crispa's sweet shooting Atoy Ko who bagged the award. The highly prolific Fortune Cookie was the first to score both 5,000 and 10,000 points in the PBA. Another supernova guard is Alan Caidic, the MVP of the 1990 season. A year before he exploded for a PBA record 79 points. Caidic won 5 titles as player, but the greatest legacy of the Triggerman is his unrivaled scoring bursts, mostly from behind the three-point line.
If it goes in, that's going to be the biggest lead for Great Taste.
The 1985 season saw the emergence of the first Filipino-American MVP, Ricardo Brown. 2 years after winning Rookie of the Year, Brown took his game to another level and earned the MVP trophy after leading Great Taste to back-to-back titles in the Open and All-Filipino conferences. The 9-time PBA champ still holds the PBA's highest career average with 23 points and 7 assists. All MVPs are either first-round picks or direct hires, but Ato Agustin is an exception.
Agustin tried to climb over Frankie Lane.
The Atom Bomb is the only second-round pick in PBA history to be MVP. Agustin, who was drafted 11th overall in the 1989 draft, averaged almost 21 points in 74 games while leading San Miguel to the All-Filipino crown in 1992. The 7-time PBA champion and 6-time PBA All-Star, unsurprisingly, can be considered the patron saint of hope and excellence for all second-round recruits.
Ato was very versatile, was always very versatile, and he was able to convert himself to becoming a very good point guard. He was San Miguel's biggest scoring threat alongside Ramon Fernandez, who was also an MVP contender back then.
10 seconds on the shot clock. Barrientos inside. Yes!
The late 1990s saw the emergence of literally the shortest MVP in league history. Johnny Abarientos, who stood at 5 feet and 7 inches, was named MVP in 1996, conquering a sport for giants. The Flying A powered the Alaska Beerman to the PBA's 4th Grand Slam at the time. His craft and cunning even caught the attention of the Charlotte Hornets. the NBA team that was reported to have considered offering him a 10-day contract. The 8-time All-Star boasts a stacked resume that includes 12 titles and 2 Finals MVPs. He is also the league's all-time leader in steals and 4th for most career assists.
Kung si Johnny Abarrientos, he was called a flying A, and if you were not quick enough, he would just dribble out of your television sets. He was just that quick, just that good, just so crafty with the basketball. He had basketball skills that were great even for a person who was not that tall, 5'7", 5'8" probably. And to the point that he had attracted the attention of the NBA for a possible tryout that, however, did not materialize.
JJ pushes it hard for the Gin Kings. JJ down to Kagiwa, gets the 2 points, down to a 1-point ball game with 14 seconds remaining.
The turn of the century later saw an influx of new talents like the fast and the furious tandem of Mark Kagiwa and JJ Helterbrand. Helterbrand became just the second MVP in Ginebra history after a stellar season in 2009, when he also earned a spot in the mythical first team. Kagiwa, who was one of the most potent gunners in his prime, joined the MVP ranks 3 years later. The Spark is one of 4 former MVPs to have won the scoring title more than once. The 9-time PBA champion is also one of 2 active players in the 10,000-point club and owns a spot in the vaunted 40 greatest players list. Kagiwa and Helterbrand, however, failed to win titles during their MVP years. Beating them in that department was Jimmy Alapag, who was at the forefront of Talk 'N Tech's dominance of the 2010-11 season. With Alapag leading the way, Talk 'N Tech came close to a Grand Slam after clinching the Philippine and Commissioner's Cup titles. The Mighty Mouse won 2 Finals MVPs during that stretch and went on to finish his career as an 11-time PBA All-Star and 6-time champion. The 2003 Rookie of the Year also surpassed the legendary Alan Caidic as a PBA's all-time 3-point king before retiring. He's also 5th all-time in career assists. From versatile guards, let's talk about versatile forwards. There's Freddy Hubalde, who was just the 2nd player in PBA history to become MVP. The 1977 MVP was simply a scoring factory during his peak and retired just under 100 points short of joining the 10,000 points club. Meneses, on the other hand, became the most valuable player of 1995 after pushing Sunkist to a near Grand Slam that season. The Aerial Voyager is a 10-time All-Star with 3 titles and is actually just behind Hubalde in the all-time scoring list. Kenneth Doremdes, who served as Meneses' partner in crime in Sunkist, carves his own niche after moving to Alaska. Upon retiring, Captain Marvel collected 6 titles, 2 Finals MVPs, 9 All-Star citations, and a spot in the PBA's greatest players list, among many others. Of course, this is a sport where height can sometimes be might. The first center to be MVP is another member of the Crispa Grand Slam team, Philip Cesar, the Tapal King. He of the long, seemingly unending limbs, won MVP in 1980 and retired with 15 championships. What's more impressive is that the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year owns a spot in the top 12 all-time leaderboards in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks.
To think that Cesar was actually the first player in PBA history to register a triple-double. And that's a remarkable feat. And there was a time when he nearly had the quadruple-double by having a triple-double in scoring, in points, rebounds, and assists, and blocking 7 shots. So he was probably the closest player in the PBA to replicate what Nate Furman did in the NBA, which was to register a quadruple-double.
In the 2000s, it was the turn of Phil Foreign giants like Asi Taulava, Eric Menk, and Kelly Williams. Taulava owns the most All-Star citations in PBA history, won in 2003 after leading Talk 'N Tech to the All-Filipino crown. A year later, Menk snagged the MVP plum after leading Ginebra past Taulava and Talk 'N Tech in the conference. Williams joined the 2 big men in the 2007-08 season after helping Santa Lucia bring home a championship. Before the Junmar Fajardo era began, the last San Miguel Beerman to be MVP was his teammate Arvin Santos, in 2013.
Beautiful pass inside.
The Spider-Man remains highly productive even as he enters his 15th season. Santos is in the 40 greatest players list and is also a 9-time champion and a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, among many other achievements.
At 6'5", 6'6", he could move so well in the post area. You can imagine why he was called the Tower of Power by Jokan Dada, simply because he was so powerful going against the bigs of that era.
The MVP award can be, no doubt, a ticket to PBA immortality. It's good to win it once, but others win it twice or even thrice. But the question remains, how do you win an MVP award in the first place?
He pitches it out. Kabagos and Santos are up ahead. Spider-Man jump!
The MVP selection is perhaps similar to that biblical qualification. Many are called, but few are chosen. The latest criteria, introduced in the 2011 to 2012 season, are even more stringent. A contender must sustain a season-long all-around performance that's reflected in what is called statistical points. But media, fellow players, and the Commissioner's Office all have a say as well. Statistical points, or SPs, correspond to every point scored, rebound, assist, steal, and shot block. An MVP contender also gets 10 bonus points for every game won where he played up to the semifinals. Then 15 bonus points for every finals games won. But take note, there's a deduction of 1 SP for every turnover, 5 for every technical or flagrant foul without ejection, and 15 for any technical or flagrant foul that results in an ejection. Most of all, a player has to show up in at least 70% of his team's games to be a legitimate contender.
6 seconds.
The MVP criteria has evolved over the years, but there are some players who have satisfied these standards regardless of age and decade more than once in their stellar careers.
The shot is no good.
Winning the MVP award twice were big men Abet Gidaben, Daniel Defonso, and Benji Paras, and backcourt stars Willie Miller and James Yap. Bogs Adornado, who is the first MVP in PBA history, is the only player to have clinched the award thrice. Gidaben was just the third player named MVP more than once, and he did it despite playing alongside fellow MVPs Adornado and Philip Cesar. The 6'5" center ran away with the award in 1983, averaging 17.9 points, 8.7 rebounds, and 3.5 assists in 59 games. His second MVP came 4 years later when he averaged a double-double of 19.3 points and 10.7 boards to go with almost 3 assists in 64 games. While the year 1989 saw San Miguel clinch the league's third Grand Slam, it also marked the entry of the Tower of Power, Benji Paras. Paras is still the only player in PBA history to win both Rookie of the Year and MVP, if in the same season. Paras would go through a renaissance 10 years later when he won his second MVP after carrying Shell to an All-Filipino Cup title. He also won the Comeback Player of the Year award by the end of the season.
For a big man at 6'5", 6'6", he could move so well in the post area. He had an outside shot. He could rebound. He could run. You can imagine why he was called the Tower of Power by Jokan Dada, simply because he was so powerful going against the bigs of that era. Mon Fernandez, Abet Gitaben, Yoyo Villamin. He was not faced by the veterans. He could compete against them very well during that time.
A year after Paras won his last MVP, Danny Ildefonso began his reign as the PBA's best big man.
80-77. It's wide open. The open si Daniel Ildefonso. Butas na butas si depensa ron.
Ildefonso is only one of 3 players in history to win the MVP in back-to-back years after fending off everyone else for the trophy in 2000 and 2001. In the year 2000, Lacayo normed personal bests of 15.2 points and 8.8 rebounds to go with 3.2 assists as he helped the Beermen take crown in the Philippine and Commissioner's Cups. The following year, Ildefonso averaged 14.7 points and 8.6 rebounds, along with career highs of 4.5 assists in 42.2 minutes as the Beermen won the Philippine Cup.
Raise the roof.
After Ildefonso came Willie Miller, who won his first MVP under surprising circumstances. The four-time PBA champ is the only MVP to win the award while averaging under 10 points per game. In his first MVP season in 2002, Miller averaged 9.7 points, 3.6 rebounds, 3.6 assists, and a steal in 26 minutes per game for Red Bull, champions of the Commissioner's Cup.
Here's Miller slicing through.
4 seasons later, Miller notched his second MVP while playing for the Alaska Aces. His numbers were elite this time, and he was also an integral part of Alaska's Fiesta Cup title run. Perhaps one of the most popular players in recent memory is two-time MVP James Yap.
Man with a million moves has the ball, and he will try to win the game against Adriano. James Yap.
One of the stars of the only team in the 21st century to win a PBA Grand Slam. Yap immediately established himself as a superstar in just his sophomore year by winning the MVP award in the 2005-06 season. Behind Big Game James, Pure Foods went on to the finals twice and bagged the Philippine Cup trophy to end a 4-year drought. He won another MVP plum in the 2009-10 season when Pure Foods ran away with the Philippine Cup title.
Malaki James. Yep, they don't call him Big Game James for nothing.
Very few scorers at their peak were as lethal as Yap, who, at number 11, can still continue to climb the all-time scoring chart.
See, James Yap, you'd probably think that he wasn't so competitive because he's so mild-mannered, so laid-back. But I think that's the big deception you have about Big Game James Yap. You have to understand he was called Big Game James, almost like James Worthy, by the same reason that he could hit big shots throughout his participation in championship teams.
Getting a leg up over these two-time MVPs is William Bogues Adornado, the first ever MVP of the PBA. He dominated for Crispa and won the first 2 MVP awards in 1975 and 76. Adornado later became the first 3-time MVP in 1981 while playing for UTEX. The 5-time scoring champ is 8th in the scoring list and holds a career average of 20.4 points, which is just second among all locals.
When it comes to accuracy, I don't think anybody can beat Bogues in that regard. The closest would be Ricardo Brown probably in that sense. No? But Bogues' accuracy and timeliness when it comes to sniping was bar none, perhaps the greatest ever in league history. And I think that would play a pivotal role in today's brand of basketball because of the emphasis of outside shooting.
The PBA's MVP history was long thought to be set in stone until Junmar Fajardo entered the picture.
Anything is possible. To overcome Juan Fernandez, we'll see.
Being MVP is already a feat in itself. Winning it twice or thrice propels you to yet another level of greatness. But what about those who win it 4 times? Or, how does 6-time MVP sound to you? And just who the hell are these superhumans?
Juan Fernandez. Massey, looking, elegant shot from Juan Fernandez.
You'll probably get different answers depending on who you ask. But Ramon Fernandez, the league's first 4-time MVP, is still the popular answer to the question, who is the greatest PBA player of all time? It's not difficult to see why. With 19 titles and a slew of records that continue to stand the test of time, El Presidente is still the epitome of dominance in the PBA, especially in the 80s.
Fernandez switched on by Chito Martin, trying to bring the ball in closer. There is body contact. The shot is countered.
Fernandez clinched his first MVP in 1982 after leading Toyota to 2 championships in the reinforced Filipino and Open conferences. Beerhausen's failed title quest in 1984 didn't stop Fernandez from getting his second MVP. Because how could you deny a ridiculous near triple-double season in the first place?
It was difficult and easy. All I really had to do was to keep myself in the best of shape, focus on the game, trust my teammates. As you can see, sa assist, nagkulang lang ako ng a few 0.0 something, no, to make a double digit. It's a sign of that I trust my teammates because I pass to them, no.
Juan Fernandez low posting against Joel Banal. At this point,
he was just short of 7 dimes to average a triple-double season, average season. Okay, so that was how close he was to a triple average double. He registered more than 2 dozen triple doubles during that season. So imagine the kind of dominance that he made.
Fernandez grabbed a third MVP in 1986 when he moved to Tanduay, which nearly clinched the league's third Grand Slam. His fourth MVP came in 1988 when Fernandez was traded from Pure Foods to San Miguel for Abet Gedaben. Don Ramon later pushed the Beermen to the reinforced conference title.
Ramon, and Ramon will take it. 1 second to go. In there!
Fernandez is the only player in history to be a top 2 leader in all 5 major categories. He's still the PBA's all-time leading scorer with 18,996 points, the league's best rebounder with 8,652 boards, and the best shot blocker with 1,853 swats. Fernandez also leads everyone in minutes played, is second in total assists, steals, and games played.
the turnaround by Alvin. And here's Alvin Patrimonio. He continues to burn.
Alvin Patrimonio will also have a place in these greatest of all-time conversations owing to the sheer success he had with the Pure Foods franchise in the 90s.
For 1991, Alvin Patrimonio.
In 1991, the captain secured his first MVP. The same year, the Pure Foods franchise won its first ever all-Filipino title. Pure Foods failed to win a title in 1993, but Patrimonio's greatness was still undeniable as he averaged 21.6 points, 8.9 boards, and 2.9 assists in 67 games to win a second MVP title. Patrimonio became the second player to win back-to-back MVPs after winning again in '94. This time, Pure Foods won the Commissioner's Cup, which was also the franchise's first in that conference. The year 1997 was a landmark season for Patrimonio, who tied Fernandez for most MVPs with his fourth. He was again the anchor for Pure Foods, which topped the All-Filipino Conference.
Alvin was the prototype power forward because he also defined power in the power forward position. So not only was he capable of scoring from the post behind the basket, he was also capable of scoring at the post while fronting the basket.
Up to now, Patrimonio has the third most points, the fifth most rebounds, and the 14th most blocks in league history. The six-time champion also logged the second most minutes and 8th in most games played.
Too strong. Junmar, first 2 points in the ball game. Inside that paint. Here's that high-low that we were talking about. Once again,
The PBA's MVP history was long thought to be set in stone until Junmar Fajardo entered the picture.
Fajardo is there.
Fajardo's rookie season was the only year that he did not win the MVP award. In his sophomore year, the Kraken immediately collected his first MVP, along with Most Improved Player and his first All-Defensive and Mythical Team citations.
the most valuable player, Junmar Fajardo!
San Miguel won 2 of 3 titles at the end of the 2015 season, and Fajardo again was unstoppable, winning MVP and a Defensive Player Award to go with a handful of other accolades. The Miracle later set the stage for another brilliant 2015-16 season from the SMB superstar. Fajardo's return from a left knee injury in the Philippine Cup Finals inspired the Beermen, who became the first professional team in basketball history to climb out of a 0-3 finals deficit. Fajardo, of course, won a third MVP to tie with Bogs Adornado and became the first player to win it 3 straight seasons.
Rebound. Hello!
SMB's first Grand Slam bid was thwarted in the 2016-2017 season, but Fajardo's consistent dominance led him to a 4th MVP to join the venerated names, Fernandez and Patrimonio.
And your 5-time MVP, Junmar Fajardo.
But Fajardo shattered this three-way tie when he got his 5th MVP award the following season after suffering a shin injury.
What a grand entrance for the MVP.
An unprecedented 6th MVP came Fajardo's way in 2019 when he played a career-best 61 games and led San Miguel to another 2 titles, one short again of a Grand Slam. The 6'10 behemoth has also won the most number of Best Player of the Conference awards. He has averaged 12.2 rebounds in 7 seasons, the highest for any local. Add to that a scoring average of 17.7 points in his entire career.
The very first MVP trophy that he won, I already predicted that barring any physical injuries or even mental injuries, he will go on to win at least 8 MVPs, no?
The pass, back it up and in.
He has already overtaken Mon and Patrimonio with the number of MVPs that he has won. So anything is possible. To overcome Juan Fernandez, we'll see. He has already overtaken Mon and Patrimonio with the number of MVPs that he has won. So anything is possible.
There is perhaps no greater testament to individual excellence in the PBA like the MVP award. You win one and you secure a place in Philippine basketball history. But you win it a couple of times or even more, like 6, you better check your DNA. You might not be human for all we know. My name is Lourdes Vera. And thanks for watching this MVP, your most valued program. And this has been Basketball Almanac.